A flight from Chicago to Seattle was aborted because the plane caught on fire. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a flight from Chicago to Seattle that was aborted because the plane caught on fire. And to be specific, it wasn't the inside of the cabin where people are sitting and eating their Biscoff cookies and drinking the ginger ale. It wasn't there. It was outside of the cabin, but still on the plane. An engine caught on fire and people were able to record it from their cell phones. Now, before we get into some details and the $1 million question, what kind of plane was this? Before we get to that, one thing, imagine you're inside the cabin looking out of the window, and rather than seeing the beautiful sights of the lake and the sky, and it might be a sunrise, sunset, clear day, whatever it is, you see smoke coming from the actual airplane that you're on. You're talking about terrified. My goodness. I saw another video or story of people going from Jamaica to Florida, and then the pilot or the staff, the actual people in the air were like, hey, prepare for a water landing. Man, look, my heart is going to beat all the way outside of my chest. I'm going to be terrified, just the same as if I saw the aircraft on fire. Now, $1 million question. What kind of plane was this, ABL? Do we have more of the Boeing issues? Actually, no. This was an Airbus. Now, hopefully, this was an isolated incident and it does not represent problems with Airbus, because we don't need those Boeing issues, no matter how rare they may be. We don't need those issues to go over to Airbus. All right. We already know there's an issue with Boeing. Maybe there can be some fixes applied to that to get things back on the right track. But Airbus has had a pretty much spotless record as far as I know. And if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. Hopefully we don't see issues starting to pop up with Airbus. And again, this was not a Boeing flight. So there's that. Now, before we go any further into it, let's actually get to the news clip here. And of course, I will link to everything in the box. If you're on IG, visit a link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Rob, there were nearly 150 passengers on board that United plane. At the time, they were safely placed on another plane, United says, after the smoking plane returned to the gate. But the entire situation halted all airport operations temporarily, and that made for some uncertain moments for passengers who were getting ready to take off and land here at O'Hare at the time.
It was a smoky false start to a cross-country flight. Monday afternoon cell phone video shot from inside a Seattle-bound plane at O'Hare shows smoke spilling from the area near the wing of an Airbus 320.
Now, let's pause. Luckily, this happened as they were getting ready to take off, because they could have been in the air. Imagine you're going overseas. Oh, my goodness. You leave from LAX to go to Hawaii or somewhere, and you're straight across water, and all of a sudden your engine starts smoking. You're going to be in a bad situation, really, really bad. You're like midway through the trip out over the Pacific Ocean. You're in a bad way. So luckily this happened right here, and they were able to just stop the flight from happening.
United says the plane headed out to the runway only to be halted before takeoff due to an engine issue. Airport operations temporarily ceased immediately, leaving incoming planes circling overhead.
We are in the air and they say, I'm sorry for the delay. We want to wait a little bit because in Chicago is an emergency.
The emergency explanation, without any further detail, she says, was all the more alarming.
We're scared. The lady on my side was asking, you know what's going on? And I say, no, they don't say anything. But
so, and if you're on a plane that's supposed to land and you're not the emergency plane, and they're saying, okay, we got a situation, we can't really land right now, what's going through your mind? You might be like, there could be some kind of terror situation. I don't know what's going on. Maybe there's a threat to our plane. You don't really know what's happening because you don't have clear information.
The pilot sounds a little nervous, but he don't say anything to us.
United says the smoking plane was towed back to the gate and all 148 passengers deplaned. In short order, operations resumed, allowing homebound holiday travelers to return from a busy long weekend.
Great. perfect. Like, we didn't get delayed at all.
Even with an arrivals board full of mostly on time and ahead of schedule landings, not all trips went so smoothly.
It was crazy. It was crazy going, it was crazy coming back. Let's just say that.
TSA had predicted as much. The agency says they screened nearly 3 million passengers nationwide on Friday, marking a new all-time record.
Yeah, people are traveling. People are definitely traveling. They want to be able to go, get around, do things, see their friends, family. And, you know, some people say, well, the economy's doing well because people are traveling and moving around. Well, how much are these tickets costing? And the people that are traveling, how often do they travel? When I go places and it's like a weekend where people are traveling, you could kind of see people that have not been out for a long time. They're kind of like fish out of water. So this may not be a good indicator of a strong economy when you're talking about high travel numbers on holiday weekends like Memorial Day, etc.
Tornadoes and thunderstorms across large swaths of the country made overcrowded air travel more complicated, and the holiday weekend trek back to Chicago a little more stressful than some passengers had prepared for.
The storm rerouted everybody to all the major cities.
Fun. It was worth it at the end of the day, but if you have anxiety, I wouldn't recommend traveling this time.
The Chicago Department of Aviation was expecting more than 1.6 million passengers to pass through O'Hare and here at Midway this holiday weekend. And as the TSA noted, it was now a record-breaking start to a very busy summer travel season.
So, yeah, we're going to see a lot more travel over the summer. And I think what's going to end up happening here, that's a live weather right there. What's going to end up happening is you're going to see prices rise as a result. We already have crazy inflation and prices are going to go even higher. I think people are racking up credit card debt because that's one thing that's not being said. As I close, I want to put this out there. People are talking about the travel. Okay, everybody's traveling. The economy must not be that bad. Well, what's happening right now is people are using their credit cards to pay their bills. They're using their credit cards to go on these trips, and they're racking up all the time. Like the credit card, look, travel may be at an all-time high at these airports, but so is credit card debt. So is debt in general. That's going on. Car repos at an all-time high, foreclosure, people getting evicted, all that. People are just trying to do things and trying to live up to certain expectations or just get outside of their house and not go crazy, but at the same time, they're racking up debt. So that's the other side of it. But as I close, I want to say this. Shout out to everybody on the plane. Hopefully you guys are not traumatized by that experience again. Luckily, the fire happened before the plane got in the air. Before you guys were over some cornfield in Iowa, you were able to just stop, deplane, maybe get on a different plane, get rerouted, figure out a way to get to your destination. I'm glad that was the case for you because it could have been much worse. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on this whole situation with the Chicago flight and the fire happening with the engine? Just random, isolated, or does it point to a bigger issue with some quality control, things of that nature? Again, this was not a Boeing aircraft. This was an Airbus. Do you think it represents the start of some issues for Airbus or not? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I think it's more of an isolated incident. I don't think it's really related to the manufacturing or quality control issues over at Boeing. We've seen plenty of Boeing whistleblowers come forward. Some are not here anymore. I don't really know why, but that's a different story. And I'm not wearing a tinfoil hat right now, so I digress. The point is, I've heard about Boeing having some issues internally with the quality control, but not so much Airbus. So I'm thinking it's more of an isolated incident. Although, if there are some issues with the airports and people that are not Airbus having to maintain these aircraft, and they're not doing a good job, that could be an issue right there we need to look into. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.